seasoned pretzels. There he is, back from Egypt. It's Aaron Rodgers. He's back with the Jets at camp today, and he addressed his previous absence and overseas trip. Take a listen.
Missed the two practices. Had talks with all my teammates about it. I think they understood. It was obviously more of an issue outside the building than it was inside the building. Robert and I are great. We had great conversations throughout the off season. Had a fun one last night in his office till later on. So, it is what it is. I'm an adult. I knew what I was getting into. I knew the fine that was coming, and also knew how much I wanted to be in Egypt. I wish there hadn't been a conflict scheduling-wise, but was what it was.
Hey, there you go, Greg. You think drama's all done? Water under the bridge?
Well, yeah. And for me, this was never a big deal anyway. I think for me, when I listened to Aaron Rodgers, some of the word choices that he chose to say, deceptive or
words can be misleading.
Words can be misleading.
Yeah.
All those, and you're a guy that kind of manipulates words.
Sure.
That
Certain
right there
things
is
are
bad.
more mandatory than others.
Yeah, but when you think about the locker room, which I've been in, no one cares.
They didn't. Can I ask a question about that real quick before you go on? Because he said I talked to my teammates, but he didn't talk to them before. Because we know that Tyrod found out he was starting that OTA day on the practice field. So there was So I assume what he's saying there is I have talked to them since. So there wasn't in the moment, when you say no one cares, no one that day of mandatory OTAs cared that our starting quarterback's not here. No one cares?
No one cares.
Okay.
I think when he's talking about I talked to them recently, obviously he's going to clear it up with them after the fact. But some guys knew. The Jets organization knew, Robert Saleh knew, Nathaniel Hackett knew. There were individuals in that locker room that definitely knew he wasn't going to be in attendance. And maybe some guys didn't know and they found out just like the media. But more importantly, for me, when you're in season and a guy is running behind and we're supposed to be there 2 hours before every game and the guy's not showing up, guys are looking like, dude, where's Wilds? OTAs, if a guy doesn't show up, nobody's like, where's Wilds? It's OTAs. It's minicamp. We all understand that it is still offseason. Any player you ask, I don't care if something is mandatory or not, you may not choose to get fined for something, but somebody else may. I don't care if he's not there. Is he going to be here? Listen to Garrett Wilson when he talks right now. Is he here now? Oh, we good.
So I buy that there's not going to be a lot of shrapnel from him missing minicamp with his teammates. I think it clearly irritated Robert Saleh, and I think it irritated somebody above Robert Saleh within the organization, which is why it was classified the way it was, but that's just speculation. The part of this, to me, is drama with Rodgers officially done. When the quote that I was most interested in and what he said there was, I knew how much I wanted to be in Egypt, and he made that choice. And that, to me, if that is the choice the quarterback of your team is going to make, and then he's going to kind of needle anyone that had an issue with it by wearing that stupid Egyptian cat shirt on his first day to remind everybody where I've been and what I've been doing, then no, the drama's not going to be done.
I can't help it.
I'm not saying that there's going to be any more drama about the Egypt trip. I'm saying past action is a good predictor of future behavior. And him saying, yeah, there was just something more important to me, makes it incredibly likely, Wilds, more so than any other starting quarterback in the league at the very least, that something else could come up that's more important to him other than playing quarterback for the New York Jets.
I agree with that 100%. And let me frame this for you, Greg. Greg, when's your birthday?
21st of September.
Okay, September 21st. You were on this show September 21st. I did not get you a birthday card. Happy birthday, Greg.
You did not?
I did not. Did that bother you? Be
Yes.
100% honest. No, be 100% honest. Did it bother you? No, it didn't. Obviously, it didn't.
Yeah.
If you came on your
so
birthday.
Great if Greg was like, I'm glad you asked.
But it didn't bother you.
Yeah, go ahead.
What I'm trying to get the point is Framing something as it didn't bother you is different leadership. So I didn't get you a birthday card, I didn't get you a present, I didn't get you anything, and it didn't bother you, and we're good. But if on your birthday, you showed up to your office and there was balloons and a nice rice cooker for you that I got and a card, and we were all up there, would that made you feel like, you know what? Good leadership. I'm really beloved here, and this is awesome.
It would have made me feel good.
Probably. So I just think it's an issue where every other quarterback went to this mini camp. Aaron Rodgers didn't. But if you frame it as, did it bother you? No, it didn't bother me. But there's another level of leadership that all those other guys did that was above and beyond.
It's not even above and beyond. It's just showing up to what's required.
Actually, it's not above and beyond. It's actually just perfectly at the line.
Yeah, it's what we're supposed to do in this moment of the season.
And it may not didn't bother you, but it would have been nice to, you know.
I mean, you rolled your eyes. I shouldn't say you didn't roll your eyes, actually, but you seemed skeptical of what I was saying about future actions. Let me phrase it, I guess, differently. If we were to tell you, hey, there is going to be a starting quarterback this year that misses a Wednesday practice because he had something non-football related, unexcused by the team, you get $1,000 if you guess which quarterback it is. What name would you say? Because I know for me, now maybe the right answer is none of them will, but if you tell me which quarterback is most likely to have something like that, which quarterback is most likely to all of a sudden be a guy who, because of something totally unrelated to him playing quarterback for his team, is being talked about on CNN? I would say Aaron Rodgers. There's a lot of things where I just don't think it's realistic to say the drama's done because he showed up for the first day of training camp.
So I get I get all of that. When you frame it like that, maybe somebody would say Aaron Rodgers. But when has he ever done this? When has he ever missed anything regular season? When?
No, never.
Never.
But he never missed mandatory minicamp before.
I understand that. And I guess what my point is when I totally get when you say everything that he says, everybody has to be buttoned up. We have to be all in. We understand what the big picture is that we're chasing and the goal is that we're after. And if he's the one that gets to break the rules, that's, again, it's fine, but no one else can break the rule. However, when you are the person that everybody has deemed the savior and everybody is expecting all of this, the glory to happen because of you, if you feel like you need to check out for a minute and you've already discussed it with ownership and leadership, maybe not all teammates, but some, I'm sorry, I'm good with that.
Okay.
It's so funny. Nick so badly wants this to be a big deal, and so now he keeps trying to slice it in so many different directions and so many different angles that he wants Greg to agree with. He's setting up like complete straw man arguments and complete fake situations to try to paint Aaron in a bad light, and it's just comically wrong. I mean, it's just dead wrong. Acting like, Aaron Rodgers is suddenly going to miss football-related activities during the season when things matter, right? Like they have a game on Sunday and Aaron's just like not going to show up or whatever, or he's going to show up late, or he's not going to be there for practice on Friday. Like it's just made up nonsense right now. And it's so funny because I made the video the other day with Mangini, and I was like, it was another similar Aaron Rodgers clip where they were saying, this is a big deal, this is a big deal. And I said, no, it's not, this is so insane. And so many people were like, Mangini agrees, Mangini agrees with Nick, that means Nick is right. And I was just like, what are you guys talking about right now? Now we have Greg, a player who actually played with Aaron Rodgers and straight up says, not a single player cares. Nobody cares. And it's something that these non-athletes just can't accept. They just can't accept and understand why it doesn't matter. They can't. They just can't grasp it. They also fail to understand, and this is what's really funny, because they didn't play sports. Even if you just played competitive sports growing up, now you don't have to be an NFL athlete. But something that you learn when you actually play competitive sports, when you actually have to try out for a team, travel with a team, whatever it may be, you realize that there's no equality. You realize that the best players and the most important players get treated differently. Every single team, every single level. We can talk about equality all we want. It doesn't exist in sports. So yeah, it's a little bit easier for Aaron as the quarterback, as the savior, as the established top-level quarterback in the history of the NFL to be able to make a decision to go to Egypt. And every single player on that roster understands, well, Aaron can do that because he's the quarterback and he's Aaron Rodgers. They maybe struggled with it when they were in middle school and high school, maybe even college, but eventually you understand. You realize, yeah, hey man, he's the best player. He's the most important player, and it's like, that's just the way it is. But when you don't play sports, you still think that there is this sense of equality, because maybe in work there's a closer line of equality, maybe in your family life, personal life, whatever it may be. There's no equality in sports. There's zero equality in sports. Okay? It's not a democracy. It's not how it works. It's not socialism. So that's something that I'm realizing that these guys, like, they can't grasp. Because if you realize, every single ex-player in the media has pretty much all said this is not a big deal at all. Not a big deal. But it seems like all the other media members who have not played sports are just like, oh, this is the biggest deal ever. How can Aaron lead? This is just a disaster. And then, like, how Nick even has to bring in politics now into this. Like, he can't not talk about politics. He has to always bring it up with Aaron. It's always just bubbling at the surface. And it's just kind of sad, kind of funny. I'm, like, still on the fence as to, like, how entertaining it even is in the first place. But they're just so fundamentally wrong. When it comes to Aaron and it comes to the drama. And Aaron said it best. He says it's more of an issue outside the building. And I wholeheartedly believe that. Wholeheartedly believe that. There's not a doubt in my mind. And again, you can see how Greg was just straight up like, it's no big deal. Zero. No one cares. No one's talking about it. No one, it just does not matter. Especially because they know when it does matter from a football perspective, they know Aaron is going to do everything he can. They know that. He's already tried that with the Jets, getting surgery, trying to come back. He's done everything you could ask of him from a football perspective. So it's just funny to see that they want to highlight and magnify a non-issue and then have Nick try to, like, ask it in multiple hypotheticals and twist the situation to try to get Greg to be like, well, that's an issue, or try to make it an issue. So it's just kind of crazy to me. It really is. I don't know what Aaron did to make Nick so just upset with it, but it's so funny because other people, because you could see this, a lot of fanboys, people who love Nick, I guess probably Kansas City Chiefs fans, like, they adopted this view against Aaron as well. And it's just, like I said, the last video was so funny to have people be like, man, Ginny agreed with Nick. That means Nick is right. And it's like, since when does that, like, what? Like, wait, where? Man, Ginny disagrees with Nick all the time. So you're gonna put together the one time that Mangini and Nick are on the same side as a reference as to why Nick is correct? Like, that's not how this. It doesn't make sense. That's not how that works. But it just is really funny to me. I'm glad Greg was here for this clip, because I trust Greg's view on this, because he's more than willing to take shots at Aaron. He's actually played with Aaron. I think he gives very honest insight when it comes to an actual player's experience, as well as obviously Aaron Rodgers. But I think you have a lot of ex-players who don't always give an honest representation of what goes on inside a locker room, what another player is thinking about. Like, they always try, a lot of these ex-athletes, they try to boast this, like, larger than life mentality, or it's all about war and it's all about this and everyone's injured, and they do a lot of those nonsense cliches. And I do think, even if you disagree with some of the things that Greg says, or if you disagree with some of his philosophies or his views of what team is good, what team is bad, that's fine. But when it comes to direct player experience, I think he gives really, really great honest feedback. I really do. He even says things like, he really earned my respect when he said, like, a quiet part out loud, where he was just like, yeah, man, like, you say one thing at the mic and then you say something completely different to your wife, like, he admitted that. While other people, again, you ask certain other people, they'll say they just toe that line. They just always say whatever they think that an athlete should say in that moment. So I really respect that Greg kind of keeps it real in that regard. So yes, I wholeheartedly agree with Greg. And since Greg agrees with me, that means I'm right. I guess that's the way it works. But those are just my thoughts. I would absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think about the drama with Aaron Rodgers? And is it officially done? Let me know in the comments below. I read every single comment. So whether you agree with me or disagree with me, either way, let's get in some discussions. Let's get in some fights. But ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We are building an amazing community here, and I would absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to. Something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're well on our way to doing it. And please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help with the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much, and see you next time.